Welcome back to Easy English tutorials. As I've already mentioned to you in the previous class, we have already given you the introduction and importance of English language. But today we are going to go ahead and we are going to learn depth of grammar. Not exactly the depth of grammar, we can say the grammatical things that you people need to know, how to just form a sentence and how to just communicate. So today we are going to go ahead and learn about tenses in detail. So let me start off with tenses. So how many of you are aware of tenses? I think most of you, because in any language we take, we use tenses, which is again which we already know about. That is something called as present tense. We know that is past tense, and we also know that is future tense. Now, in any languages in India or outside India, that is in most of the countries and even in India itself, we use tenses in all the languages that we speak in. So like say for example, we have present tense, past tense, future tense in all the state languages. And but in English, see, when we are speaking in our mother tongue, we don't generally learn grammar and then we speak. What we do is we listen to what others talk and learn from that and use it in our daily communication. The same thing should be followed in English, but by following these rules also, it will give you a better explanation about what you want to convey to others, and also it doesn't give you any grammatical errors. So we want you to know the basic rules of English. Okay, see, now as I mentioned to you here, we have present tense, past tense and future tense. Now under present tense we have four types. Now again under past tense we have four types, and again in future tense we have four types. Now the first one is something which we talk about is something called as simple present. Okay, then we have present, we have continuous, then we have present perfect, then we have present perfect continuous tense. So each thing has got a different explanation. So what we go ahead and explain to you in these things is, when do we use this type of a tense when we communicate with others? Because there are certain rules that we need to follow, like we have the usage of these tenses, and also we have where to how to form the sentence by using this particular tense. Now then we have something called as a simple past, the same thing with past tense. Then we have something called as past continuous tense. Then we have something called as past perfect. Then we have something called as past perfect continuous. So these looks to be very simple, but again when we go ahead and learn grammar, or when we speak in English, we shouldn't learn or by heart all these grammar points. We have to just go ahead and put it into practice by knowing the rules and the structures. So we have to make sure that we practice every day for 15 to 20 minutes, or depending on the time that you get. See, you could be a housewife, a homemaker, or you could be a working profession, or you could also be a student. But you should also make sure that, okay, you give little time for as 15 to 30 minutes of your time to go ahead and learn these things. By say 15 minutes, speak verbally, like start using these sentences. And then for another 15 minutes, make sure you write what comes in your mind, put it on papers, then your writing skills will improve and also your speaking skills will improve. And then you can also watch movies, you can listen to English music, and then what happens simultaneously, you can also go ahead and improve your listening skills. Now say, for example, you go to abroad. Now UK and US people, they speak very fast, which you will not be able to understand. So if you go ahead and start watching movies and listening to music, you will automatically understand what the other person is trying to explain. So well, again, as coming back to this, we have again here for future tense also, we have simple future, then we have future continuous, which is very important again. So then we have future perfect and we have future perfect continuous. So, okay, now in this again, there are certain tenses which is being used very frequently in our daily communication. So we use all these, but you will not be knowing, when you start speaking fluently, you will not be knowing in which tense you're talking, but you will make sure you will speak correctly. So for people who are, who have a fear that they commit grammatical errors, it's better you go through the rules and structures and follow them and put them in practice every day by practicing for 30 minutes. And yeah, as I mentioned here, all these tenses are very important, except there are a few tenses which we generally don't use. Even if we use, it will be used within these. So like in future tense, for example, we don't have future perfect and future perfect continuous. Yes, in grammar we do have these concepts, but this will be taught to you, but not for a daily spoken English language. It's only for grammar part of it we'll teach you, but all the other remaining tenses are very important to use when we communicate with others. Okay, now let us take one by one. So see, we have simple present tense, so we're going to speak only about simple present tense today. So let's start off with simple present tense. So what do we understand by the word simple? Simple is nothing but you're making just simple sentence formation when you speak with others. Say for example, simple present tense is the first thing that we use generally when we talk about the facts that cannot be changed. Like say, each person will have their own things. Like say for example, now scientific facts, coming to scientific facts. The water boils, we cannot say water boils at 80 degrees centigrade or 70 degrees centigrade. There's a standard thing that's given by the researchers saying that, okay, the water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. So that cannot be changed. That's a scientific fact. The same thing continues even with the sun. We say the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But again, here what happens is the sun cannot rise in the west and then sets in the east. That cannot be changed by any person or any humans. So what we do is we go ahead and take this as a scientific fact. So this type of a tense, like say when I spoke to you, we are talking about present tense and we are talking about simple present tense. Now we are talking about the usage. So where do we use? We use for facts or the truth that we talk about, right? So for this we can give examples like water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. Then we have it is cold in winter. It is cold in winter, that cannot be changed again. Alright, and then we have the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So all these things are nothing but when we use the simple present tense. Now coming to the then we talk about, okay, this is the first thing when we use simple present tense. There is another thing when we can use the simple present tense, that is when we talk about someone's habit or hobbies. So when it comes to habit, I write fast. That's my habit, correct? I write fast. He runs very slow. That is his habit. He can't run fast, that's what it says. So, this is when the second point when we use the simple present tense. Now coming to the last is regular activity. When we do a regular activity, like say for example, I come to office every day. That's my regular activity. Then I handle English classes. That's my regular activity. Or you can say I teach English. So that's again my regular activity. So these are a few things when we use the simple present tense. So as today we have learned this, now I'm going to give you the structure, that is nothing but you can see a formula how to use the how to make the sentence formation. So we have something which is very important for you people to know. See, generally in English we call I as the first person, that is me, alright? You as the second person, that's you, people who are watching this video. Then we have someone called as third person singular, who is the third person who's sitting right next to you or somewhere else. That is, we call them third person singular. Then we have, if there are more people around you, we, they, both of us, all of us, some of us, then we say they are third person plural. Clear? Now, when I come to the structure, what do you mean by structure? Structure is nothing but a formula type. When we go ahead and do maths problems, we usually put formula and just go ahead and how the formula is, we put the numbers according to that. The same way in structures, we have something called as subject plus verb. Verb can be two types, as I've told you, helping verb or main verb, but in present tense we use only the first verb, that's the action verb, plus you will have to add S or ES depending on the subject, and plus you have your object. Now this is going to be your structure. Now when I say I, see, there's always a rule. You will not say I goes. You will say always I go. That's the rule. Whenever you use the first person, it's always without an S or an ES to the action verb. I go to office every morning at 9. I go to office every morning at 9. So go is your verb. So you're not adding S or ES because I is the first person and you should not add. Now coming to you. So you drink a lot of water. That's a person's habit. So you drink a lot of water. When he, she comes, you always need to add an S or an ES. So he teaches well or she teaches well. Then for we, you, that's third person plural, that's more than one person. You can say we, they, both of us come together. We come together. So all these things are nothing but when we use for simple present tense. This is how you need to form the sentences. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to wind up the session here. So you can go ahead and practice this, and if you can also share it with your friends and people who want to still go ahead and learn in detail about English, how to go ahead and speak English fluently without committing or without making any grammatical errors. You can also go ahead and subscribe for this channel, for this course as well. And for any feedback, for any comment on this particular episode, you can just go ahead and leave it. And we would go ahead and further discuss certain things about present and simple present tense more in the upcoming next session. Alright, till then, see you. Bye.